the road in Dallas, but remember, no Luka in this one as he continues to treat that ailing, strained calf muscle. 99-93 is your final. This one was a dead under from the tip, and it was spotty late, but the Jazz also cover the number. Breaking down game one of many with the best in the business, CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, as we take in this game, a lot was left to be desired even by the winning side here. What'd you make of the matchup and the way that Utah performed here with a undermanned Dallas team in front of them?
I'm with you. On the face of it, it's a good day for Utah. You win the game. Those of us that bet on Utah get the cover, which is always nice. But an uninspiring performance, and I think signs of real trouble ahead. We've seen from Utah in the past when they play a real competitor. No disrespect to the Dallas Mavericks. They put up a hell of a fight. That is not a playoff-level basketball team with Luka Doncic not in the mix. And whether he misses just game 2 or game 2 and 3 or game 2, 3, and 4, they're not going to be competitive. And the fact Utah couldn't put the game away, some of the things that we saw, specifically terrible defense in that fourth quarter, given away when they had a pretty sizable 7-point lead, but it felt like they were in control of the game, Joe. Giving away free throws, free points with no time coming off. And then Bogdanovic and Mitchell again and again and again, just going down, not passing the ball, hero ball, running poor offensive plays, bad shots, and all of a sudden, a not very impressive Dallas team is back in the mix. Doesn't bode well when eventually they move on and they play a team like the Phoenix Suns.
It is a lot easier to offer teachable moments when you do walk away with the win as well. So if you're Utah trying to make some of those adjustments heading into game 2, you obviously have to prepare and assume that Luka Doncic is going to be in the fold. We'll get to that here in a moment. But if you're looking internally at Utah, what does need to change in terms of some offensive fluidity maybe?
Quinn Snyder, a guy that I know who's extremely charming, I think will use his charm to communicate the same message Donovan Mitchell was screaming at his teammates in a way maybe that's not as charming, which is, guys, we have to not panic in the fourth quarter of an opening round playoff game against anybody, but especially the Dallas Mavericks. Slow it down, focus on your defensive assignments, don't try to do too much. You saw multiple silly fouls, including attempted offensive rebounds where you did need to foul the guy that put Dallas on the line. But there's a problem offensively too, which you cited, and that is just you have to run your offense. Doesn't matter how hot Bogdanovic was, especially in the first half, how much Donovan Mitchell got it going really, I thought, in that third quarter. You've got to come down, run your offense. The best part of Utah on a night where they didn't play well offensively for the most part was when they moved the ball, got open shots, created some space, and the ball would come back to Mitchell, and he could attack the rim if that's what he did. You have to just not panic and run your offense.
Yeah, 32 points for Spida, but he did have to force it a bit here. 32 points on 29 shots. Wasn't a great shooting night for anybody. But if we're turning our attention to the Dallas side of things here, we were sort of talking about it as we were watching the final moments of that game when Dallas was making a comeback here. If they were able to pull off this upset here in game 1 without Luka Doncic, that gets you a lot of leash, a lot of bandwidth to maybe say, all right, let's give Luka another game. But now chasing a game at home, does this force their hand in terms of breaking a less than 100% Luka back into the fold?
Everything that I've heard is that there's a lot of pessimism about just where Luka is at on a realistic timeline over the next few games. And I know that Dallas had really hoped they could steal a game, and you saw that intensity from the players trying to do that because you would win this game, which it was there for the taking. You're right, it pushes back the need to force your hand with Luka Doncic. I think the answer is no. You have to be so careful with him. He's the future, and you're not going to be good enough to win a bunch of games if Luka's not 100% when you get out of this series. So it's a catch-22. You have to just try and be better as a basketball team that doesn't have a lot of weapons. They play better defense today than they tend to. That helps. But no, you do not rush Luka Doncic.
Ownership, front office, probably looking at this and saying, can we win a championship this year? Do we need game 2 to win that championship this year? And if either of those answers are no, let's keep the franchise player on ice and make sure nothing happens that will cost him any portion of next season. As we look forward in this series now, 1-game lead for the Utah Jazz. They win one on the road. Does this result change the way you saw this series from the jump or no?
No, it doesn't. It makes me very nervous about believing in Utah in the next series. But this is a Utah Jazz team, despite the fact they have real chemistry issues. Remember, Donovan Mitchell basically said at one point in the season, a month and a half ago, it's the same old bleep, in referring to chemistry issues with Rudy Gobert and some things in the locker room. That's not where you want your team to be. And you saw the panic in this game. You saw a lack of defensive effort at times in the fourth quarter and focus. You saw an offense that really couldn't get it going against a Dallas team, not exactly known for his defense. I think that bodes badly, certainly for going forward. Dallas put up a hell of a fight. Brunson played a really nice game. They're not a very good basketball team without Luka. They're just not. The Jazz win this, but my concern, it's more by default going forward.
Winning might not solve everything, but gets them talking about something else at least for a day. Bill Reiter, we appreciate you breaking it down. Let's take a look at that series schedule of what's out in front of these two. Game one obviously goes the way here of the Utah Jazz on the road. One more in Dallas on Monday. That's 8:30 Eastern before the series turns to Utah for what could be clinching scenarios just 4 games deep.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.